You are now entering the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. We in the building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Down out, I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became.
So what was number 3? Oh, people.
Yeah, people we surround ourselves with.
You know, I think I've done a pretty good job at shedding people. I think my biggest problem has been letting go of friends that I grew up with.
Right.
Because I just feel like I've known them forever, right? So it's like, how do you just one day be like, you fucking don't serve me any purpose anymore, you gotta go.
Right.
It's kind of like, you know, like those people who become Christian or whatever, and they're like, we don't have the same beliefs, we can't be friends. So I do still, you know, have lines of communication. I guess it's easier for me because I'm not in the same state as them anymore. But we do not talk every day. We do not talk every week. We probably don't even talk every month. And that's probably been the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Because, you know, you don't want to be like, oh, now I think I'm better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But at some point, you do have to not be okay with some shit that you used to be okay with. And when other people aren't changing their ways and they're comfortable with the drama or the gossip or the bullshit or the constant fighting, bickering, you know, or what we call lower vibrational shit. And everybody knows what lower vibrational shit is. It's not hard to pinpoint what is what, right? So at some point, the shit that you know you used to be okay with, it just doesn't feel right. And it probably didn't feel right then when it was going on. You just had a way of turning your cheek because it was family or it was friends, but now it just really itches at you, just really hits that core. So the people around you sometimes will hurt your path because you won't want to let them go. You won't want to let them go. The judgment also from family, you know, the judgment like, oh, this, that, and the third, or what you're doing, what you're practicing is not okay. And so be based on other people's judgment of you or what they say you should or what's good for you. You will make those decisions based on those people instead of what's true to your heart.
Yeah. I think letting go of family has been a little bit easier for me, although when I kind of started my journey, my mom and my brothers kind of started their journey. So we've been okay that way. I do think about my other grandmother who died, who was Christian, read the Bible. She thought everything was the devil. I do always wonder, like, I wonder what she would have said to me. I wonder how she would have felt. Because, you know, I couldn't leave poor grandma behind. But that's where, you know, too, is that part where we talk about in a different show where I talk about just being respectful of other people and their beliefs. And so I don't, you know, as a grandma, I don't think she would have been proud of me per se, but I don't think she would have like ran behind me throwing holy water at me or anything like that. So I think we could have found our little way.
Right.
But it is, I feel like once I did hit spirituality though, and I started changing certain things and I started talking a certain way or doing certain things, I did get that ramification of you think you're better than other people.
Right.
And in a way, I remember having a conversation with somebody one day and it was a really heated conversation. And it was like, but I do think I'm better than you. And I don't think there's a problem with that. I don't think there's a problem with me finding thinking that I'm better than a person who sits in her house and smokes weed and talks shit about people all day long. I don't
Right.
find anything wrong with that. And you're right. I probably do think I'm better than you. Um, well, I think that's one of the biggest thing. It's just people are always like, "Oh, you switched up," or "Oh, you're too good," or "Oh, you're bougie now,"
Right.
and it's like
Right.
that's the hardest and the
Yeah.
hardest.
Because when you don't entertain it, and then now you notice these awkward kind of silences because you're not engaging. It's like, I don't
Mhm.
have that. I don't want to. So now we either move differently or I love you, but I can't fuck with you. And yeah,
Mhm.
to an extent, it is I'm better. I'm better than this particular situation, you know. And I feel like on this path, that's one thing people don't want to lose their people. But at the end of the day, if your people are negative, and I always say the same thing, if they're not inspiring you, if they're not supporting you, if they're not bringing some type of joy and happiness in your life, why are they there? Because I do believe misery loves company. And it, and I've seen a lot of people where it's like, oh, they always got these type of friends, and there's all of these different personalities, and I'm like, that's unrealistic. Because at some point, you got to look at the people who sit next to you and wonder if this person is okay with, let's say, you got a couple friends, one friend, did people be like, I know she's a thief. Why
Mhm.
would why would you be okay with that? Because me, I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to be with you out and then you're thieving from somebody. And then what? I've actually had that happen when I was a teenager. I was a runaway and I was with a girl who had stole from these people that she was staying at. And those people came and found us and thought I was in on that. You know what I mean? And luckily, nothing happened to me, but it was the point of, you stayed in this lady's house, you thieving, and because we roll together now,
Mhm.
they thought I did something. And luckily I had, my baby daddy was with me at the time and he was known. So I had backup where I didn't, nothing really truly happened to me in that moment. But it was that reality at 13, like, damn, you flock with people, people will see you as such. It is what
Yeah.
it is. And if you never have a problem with someone's shitty behavior, what does that say about your character? How you treat other
Yeah.
people. I think it speaks volumes to who your core person inside of you is, who you are. So I think when you're going through this path, you got to kind of take stock of it. And it's not a egotistical, I'm better than others. But at some point, you do have to understand that as you're elevating, you will become better than others. And the
Mhm.
conversations and the way that they move, and you won't want to be involved in the shit. You'll be the last one to hear about the drama. You'll be the last one that people invite anymore. You kind of got to be okay with that, though.
What about, I think people's biggest one, or not all people, but most people's biggest one is learning to let go of the man or the woman,
Oh, yeah.
their significant other.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one because vibrationally, if you're ascending, right, and your
Mhm.
person isn't, you guys will start to clash and you will start to clash and you will start to clash. And then that goes into all these other avenues of not wanting to let this person go, but this person is kind of dragging you down, even though you're trying to go. It is the opposite way too, where the other person could be the one excelling and then you're the one like don't want to change and you're dragging this person down, however it works. But yeah, you got to be able to, even with the partner, and that's what we have a whole segment on letting go. You got to be able to let go. You got to be able to let go.
I think it's important for people to know that we don't mean that if your partner is, um, I'm just going to be honest, is just shitty, is a drinker, is, whatever, just lazy, whatever. We're not saying that that person has to go. What we're saying is if their energy doesn't change when your energy changes, that's something that vibrationally and spiritually is just going to tear apart. Because there is a way to go into any shitty relationship and just be like, you know what, I'm going to change. This is what I'm going to do. And to bring
Right.
your partner with you. That is
Right.
very, very capable
Right. Right.
of
Right.
doing it. It's just if that person is resistant to change, that
Right.
spirit is going to have its way of coming in and saying, you just don't match anymore.
Right.
And it's going to get very chaotic. So just know that you don't have to get rid of anybody or your man or your partner, or your woman, whatever. You don't have to get rid of anybody. It's just, are they willing to do the change with you?
Right. And I don't say that in like, oh, you don't want to eat kale, so now
Mm-hmm.
we're done. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that, but I'll use the metaphor because we actually did a segment on divorce. So definitely go watch that divorce and relationships, where one of the ladies was talking about how her, she had stopped smoking and decided to quit smoking. And then her person just never could deal with that. It was just like ragging on her because she decided to stop smoking. And that's where you have to say to yourself, what have I been missing? Because we were cool when I was smoking, but now that I haven't
Mm-hmm.
smoked, now it's a problem. Now you don't respect that. And now just because we're together, I should have to deal with this habit that I strongly feel against now. And so that's where we have to make the judgment to be okay to say, if we can't come to an agreement on this issue anymore, if all we're going to do is keep fighting and you're belittling me in this situation on it, that's what I'm talking about. Then you need to make a decision to choose yourself. That's what the path is for. I'm not just saying throw people out in the cold, but most people, I won't say all of them coming into the spiritual world, have shitty partners. But at some point when you're elevating, you guys won't match. Not if you're not both elevating together.
Mm-hmm.
Then what do you do?
Yeah.
That's why people digress. They digress. So number 4, jumping on the spiritual trend.
The bandwagon.
The spiritual bandwagon. So we're talking about reasons why you digress.
The
Spiritual
TikTok
bandwagon,
bandwagon, is that what we should call it?
TikTok spirituality, the
Right.
TikTok spell work, the TikTok
Mm-hmm.
every fucking thing, because it's cool, right?
Mm-hmm. It is really cool, right? I mean, everyone wears these beads and they talk about these really cool crystals and these got these baths with bath salts and herbs
Hmm.
and shit floating around. It's pretty fucking cool.
You got all the
And it
stars,
looks cool, right?
all these
It
high
looks
powered
cool. And
stars are like
then
crystal this, crystal that,
right,
meditate.
right. And so then it's like, okay, so then you start with the basics. You can meditate. You can do a cleansing bath. Those are really cool. Oh shit, we heard about an egg cleanse. I can do that one.
Right.
And then you start talking about shadow work, trauma work,
Right.
eating
Dark
healthy,
night of the soul. Dark night of the
right?
soul.
All that shit. Eating healthy, reading books, fasting, beta healing, just anything and everything, right? You're just doing this, that, and the other. Opening your third eye, yoga, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, at some point, it's like, okay, I can do that, I can do that. And then for a lot of people, something triggers in you where it's no longer fun.
Hmm. Right.
This ritual, this routine is no longer fun, right? So you slack off. You're no longer meditating, and you're no longer um,
Hmm.
eating right. You're no longer cleansing yourself. You see a crystal, you buy a crystal. You're no longer carrying them with you or cleansing things or anything like that. And
Right.
it's just no longer as fun for you. And so it's like, okay, whatever. Then you're back to the club and you're back to the bar and you're back to getting high all day, every day. Well, don't get me wrong, you get high, but
Right.
if you're just doing it all day long or you're just constantly drinking every single weekend and um, you
Or you're
know,
back
you
scrolling
there
on
is
social
no
media for 7 hours straight on
yeah,
TikTok.
Yeah. And it's not fun anymore. It's just so it's like, oh, it was that fad, that facade that was really cool and it was really fun. And then it's like, oh, it's not what I thought it was.
Right,
I
right,
thought it
right.
was like fucking crystal confetti and unicorns.
Then we go back to that. Oh, so I got to do this every day. I
Mm-hmm.
oh, so I got to do this as all the time. Oh, well, now while I was searching for these statues are fucking ridiculous in price, and I can't find this statue. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. It's just the fad. It's a trend, and we all know spirituality is very cool now. Even I know that because of even how I grew up. Everything was in the closet. Everybody was in the closet. Everyone practiced in the closet. No one
Mm-hmm.
really did shit out in the open. And now you got people on TikTok who got thousands of views on how to make somebody think about you, which I think is, we've already talked about this on I think two segments, how I feel about that. I'm totally against it on forcing anybody to think about you. I think you should want someone to think about you, not force them to fucking think about you. But we're not going to go there, right? But it is a trend. It is a fad. It looks cool for the moment, but coming into spirituality, this is why people digress and go back to their routine, because you can't keep up with the practices. One, people think you just come in and you're a hippie and some shit up and
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I thought everyone thought we like sat on a hill and got high and
yeah,
right. Had some put sunflowers in our hair and shit. And we are just fucking bohos.
burning burning papers at the wind and shit, which we do, but it is a practice every new moon, every full moon. And, we have our prayers and our setups and our candles and our altars. And there's so much that goes into it of meditating and when to meditate and all these things that you're putting in there, but also learning the knowledge that you should do. A lot of people are like, what? Read a book. Is there a movie? And I'm probably one of those people, but it's more so time management of trying to get the book in. So me with audiobooks. I'm like, can I listen to it? Can I listen to it while I'm working? But most people don't do that. It's kind of like, oh, I'm supposed to learn from other people. Oh, I'm supposed to do some work. Oh, I'm supposed to look into this now. Just like we talk about tarot, and it's cool. It's so fun to do tarot.
I think
But
sometimes people think it's just tarot and crystals.
how many people really go and do their research about tarot?
Tarot,
How many?
crystals, and candles, and that's it, right?
Right. It's like,
So that's
okay,
the
I got
cool
me
part
some
of it.
tarot cards. I got me some tarot cards. Now what do I do? Now I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna read myself every day. And it's like, okay, read them.
Yep.
So don't get caught up in the spiritual fad. Don't get caught up in the spiritual trend. I say try whatever you want to try. But if you're just jumping on the spiritual trend because it looks cool, and if you think coming into spirituality that there's nothing to it, because it's not a religion, it's still some form of practicing. So
It
when
is.
you come in, you're trying to find your practice. Like, you're not just doing Hinduism or you're not just doing Buddha. You're kind of taking bits and pieces from everyone because it fits or it feels good and you want to try that. But same thing of it's still a practice.
I was gonna say we need to do one of those shows, like why spirituality, and I don't want to say is a religion because it's not a religion,
Right, right.
but if spirituality had its own Jesus and had a pastor, it would so be like almost a religion. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't think of it as a religion because of course religion, you stick to the doctrine of that religion, right? And you stick to that, and that's kind of it. And then you go and you praise whoever you're praising, and you stick to that, and you're devoted to that thing, that religion.
I mean, in a
And
way though
in,
of
in spirituality, I feel it's more, for me, it's more of a practice where you get to create your own practice.
right. But for me, what I was meaning is like, so people think that spirituality just means like you believe in a creator source.
Hmm.
Usually not God. Some people do believe in God and spirituality though,
Right,
but
right.
I think a lot of people come in feeling like it's just free and open to do whatever you want, and they don't take it as seriously. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And it's like, little do you know, there's a lot of people who take it very, very seriously to elevate and
Right.
to um, clear out things and bring in new. And we
Right.
have our rituals, and so it's not just,
I think you should. I think you should take
not
it very serious.
just and
You're opening doors.
botanicas.
You're opening doors when you come in here. And regardless to what you decide to do, whether you take bits and pieces of other religions, other practices, whatever it is that you do, you're going to do something. But unfortunately, most people come running from religion and then get hit with, oh, I got to practice, I got to do this, I got to honor. Because if you are going to have certain either deities or from certain places, you do have to honor them in some way.
Mhm.
You're taking the teachings, you're doing this, that, and the third, but you don't stop to honor, you don't stop to say thank you, you don't stop to be in that gratitude of these beautiful energies that are showing you the way. And I think that's the misconception of spirituality, is that just going to come over here and I'm going to free flow. And you can free flow, but there's still work to do.
Mhm.
There's still work to do here. It's not just hippy dippy, at Woodstock chilling, getting high and, ayahuasca out and shit, and like mushroomed out. There's more to it than that, right? So don't jump on the trend, you guys. Um, know that walking in, it is going to be a practice. You're going to be doing some type of practice or rituals. Um,
Mhm.
just find the ones that work for you. That's the biggest thing. But if you think coming in here is like, I'll just come here and that's it. Yeah, that's probably not, well, spirituality is probably not for you. Just stay an atheist. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I don't believe in anything. So the last one we have on the list to discuss is 5 reasons why people digress on their spiritual path. And one of the things is, which I love, is the matrix, right? People, and it's more than just letting go. It's more than just the changes. It's more than just the trend. It's the matrix, that the 3D reality, right? That we live in every day, and having to give that up to become this spiritualist now, right? So I give up this 3D reality. Where the fuck do I go now? It's like,
Uh,
what else is there?
no, that's hard. That's hard. I mean, I think it's a struggle even for me still. Not every day, but there are days where it is a struggle. It's like I would much rather fucking go have fun and get drunk all week and, bar
Just
hop and club hop and not have
right,
to worry about that, and fucking eat IHOP at 4 a.m. every fucking night and wake up and do that same shit over again and not meditate and not cleanse and surround myself with hilarious, drunk, high people who
right,
do stupid shit and, and do dumb shit all night long and, maybe get in a fight or two here or there just because you have nothing better to do or whatever. Like there's times where I'm like, do I really want, or do I really want to fucking meditate and read my book
mhm,
and do my work and
right,
act like a mature fucking grown person? Like, do
mhm,
I really want to do this fucking shit today? And sometimes I don't.
right,
Sometimes I don't. And there's times where I don't. I find that always though the fucking times that I go home. But that's
right,
because I'm back surrounding myself with the bullshit. And
right,
so I
right,
get
right,
stuck in that matrix. That's exactly what it is. It's a fucking matrix. And not just
right,
saying my whole town is the only matrix, but a lot of us, if we were to go home and surround ourselves with our old friends and our old ways, we would get stuck in that matrix. That's why a lot of us fucking leave, is we're tired of being stuck in that bullshit. And when you're there there. You can't just cut your friends off. You can't just cut the people off, from your hometown. Otherwise, why are you even going back? It's to visit, to have fun, to see people. But I get stuck in that matrix when I go home. And then I get home and I'm like so disappointed in myself. So I was
Right.
working on things. I think the last time I went, I did a way better than I did the first few times I had went home. Um, but it's hard. It is hard. It is hard to just fucking become a grown up and not do that shit. Especially if you're like me and you've been sitting in the house for 3 years and you don't
Right.
go anywhere and you don't do anything and you don't know anybody. And then you do
Right.
get around the people you're comfortable with to
Right.
not do
Right.
that shit. Because reality fucking sucks.
Right.
It,
And when we're talking about this, we're not saying not everyone comes from our background. So
yeah,
some people listening will be like, "Oh, it wasn't hard for me to switch over."
right.
Well, okay, that's not everybody's life is where we come from. So some people's transition in the matrix, their life is a little bit easier to transition. Where when you come from where we come from, it's a little bit harder
Mhm.
to get to that space because some of the very negative, derogatory shit is embedded in us from childhood, and so this is
Mhm.
things that we just thought were normal, that aren't normal apparently, but these are the things that we
Yeah.
just got taught that were normal. The drinking, the smoking, the gossiping, the bringing people down, where you saw more people bringing each other down than uplifting each other. Not everybody comes from that background, and we've kind of touched this when we did Susan's podcast, where unfortunately people, when you look at spirituality and the people who are truly healing, they don't look like us. They don't come from the background that we come. So you don't have that tie. So when we're talking about how hard it is and that going back home and stuff, that's one of the reasons why when I left home, I never looked
Mhm.
back, right? Because it is very downing and demeaning and depressing, and it's just like, fuck, like, but that's our matrix. Our matrix isn't the beautiful, bright, and bubbly one, but you still can get caught in it just the same,
Yeah.
you
And it
know?
goes, it goes for many, many, many different ways. I always say, just picture yourself living, and my hometown isn't small by far, but just picture yourself like living in this small town with nothing to do but cause trouble or get high or you got your
Right,
football players, you got the jocks, you got the cheerleaders, you got the ones that don't fit in,
right,
um, parties on the weekend, thing, just anything. And even if you haven't lived like that, what if your matrix is um, spending money? What if your matrix is, you know, um, going home and you or not even going home, but um, there's a lot of people who sleep with people to pass time and to do their thing, and it's like even those are things that are hard to break from. Living in these comfortable homes where you're doing really dirty shit for the money that you're getting, or it's not
right,
honest with them. So those are your own matrices too. And so it's like, what if you had to come up out of that, right? And you had to give up everything
right,
to believe in the universe, that the universe was going to take care of you.
right,
You
right,
had to stop your Ponzi scheme or your, you know, living on credit that you didn't even have in the first place. What if you had to stop all of that tomorrow and just trust in the universe? And you
right.
had to go from your big comfortable house to a two-bedroom apartment in a not so great neighborhood. Is that me? Is it gone now? No.
Hmm.
What if you had to leave all that shit alone and trust that the universe was going to take care of you? Would you want to keep your reality or would you want to go?
Right, right. I'm like, what is it doing?
I don't know.
Well,
Hello?
like, I'll go to the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill, right? And you
Mhm.
guys remember the guy, and I can't remember his name, but he betrays, Neo in them. And they're like, why? Like, why would you betray us like this? And he said, because I'd much rather be in the matrix and eat this steak than deal with reality. And I'm going to tell you guys that a lot of people's reality is harsh. And when we talk about the healing and having to strip those layers of abuse and stuff and the things that, are hard to look at, that's how it is. It's a very gruesome place for some. It is not all bubbly and beautiful until you learn that it doesn't have to be so traumatic and it doesn't have to be such suffering. But in the beginning, it's like that. So there are
Like,
some people that would choose to stay in the matrix because it's just fun. Why not? Why not? Just stay over here, live this life. I don't have to worry about shit. I never have to worry about a heaven or hell. I never have to worry about, does anything fucking exist? Is there a God or isn't a God? I don't have to worry about any of that shit. I can just be. Why
his
not?
name was Cypher.
That's what his name is, Cypher. And he was like, I'd rather just sit here and eat this steak versus that goop in the real world. And the thing is, unfortunately, we have seen that opening these levels and ascending comes with a lot of truth, a lot of worldly truth, a lot of cosmic truth, our own truth, right?
Mhm.
And I can say it's not as, rainbows and fucking butterflies as people might think. And sometimes you think like, I'm on this path and I want to help and I want to heal and I want to do this and I want to do that, but shit, why not just go and make money and live life and pop bottles and be on a yacht? Like,
Right.
and then you see it. You see some healers that are just about money because they break away because they can't really let go. Because you letting go, you're not like not to say that you can't get wealth in this business, and I'm not saying that
Mhm.
because I do believe you can become a very wealthy person in what you do, depending on how you move and how you vibe, right?
Mhm.
But initially, you're not popping bottles doing this, right?
Mm-mm.
And
Not
so
at all.
anybody walking the path, it's like, I could go over here and make this quick money, or you want me to come over here and now do a lot of this shit for free. You know what I mean? And now I gotta like just help people. And even though you should want
Mhm.
to, but the matrix is set up that way. So it's like, where do I go? Which part do
Which
I want?
direction?
And some
Mhm.
people might even call spirituality the matrix. And I think it's all what we make it, right? You're gonna make those decisions, the red pill or the blue pill. You know what I mean? Because some of us be like, man, if I knew what I knew now, would I be sitting in this seat? Probably not. I'd be like, fuck, fuck this shit.
That's why I say, even to this day, my answer to that question still stands. It depends on what day it is. Because
Some
some
days
days
it's
I
like,
wake up and to, I don't want to be here.
some days it's
Not
like,
me in a
no,
weird, like, I don't want to,
can I
really?
just go back?
Like,
Right.
so it depends.
Fuckery.
It is, it so depends. Especially when it comes down to those days where I am broke and I don't have money and I don't have, it's just like, fuck.
Right, right,
This is what I quit my job for. I didn't want to be there either, but it was way better over there than it is
right,
over here
right.
right now. So
Well, especially if you worked in any type of like industry, like you come from
yeah,
serving. So the
I come from
money's
serving, so I had
way different.
cash. I guess I could wake up and be broke in my industry and be fine because I would go to work and I'd bring home $200 a night, and it was like, okay, that's
Right,
fine,
right,
and it's
right,
cash. You know what I mean? So I had it. It was like, okay, or I could do things like fuck money off and not pay a bill, and then be like, oh, I got to go to work today and make, I
right,
would be able to pay my bill. So it's hard. It's really hard.
right,
It's
right,
hard to
right.
wake up and be like, so we got about $12. Like, don't know when we're gonna get any more.
It's
I
different.
don't want to be here. Like,
It's
I don't
different
know.
because not every day you're making big dollars. Like not every
Hmm.
day are you making big dollars doing what we do. And a lot of it, even the way it's set up on my website, the payout is weekly. So it's not like daily. And even in the daily, it's like sometimes there's bad days where you're not making,
Mhm.
big money. Although I have to say that I'm very, very good. I'm very good off. I'm better than what I was at a job, but where I come from, my job is different, where I was capped off at a certain amount. Like I wasn't going to ever make, more than what I was making hourly unless I went back
Mhm.
to school for another couple years to obtain another degree. So unfortunately for me, it's different because now I make way more than what I did, of course, doing what I did. So I guess it all depends, of course, where you're coming from or what you used to do. But there's
Mhm.
still that change because you like me, I come from that false reality of a job. And now, I've had to overcome panicking, which sometimes I
Yeah.
still do get that panic, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's a change, what's going on, spirit? And you have to surrender, you have to trust
Mhm.
that you're going to be okay. Even though I'm always okay, everything gets paid, there's nothing, nothing like that. But it is kind of like, okay, I got to trust this universe.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. No matter if today's a shitty day, okay. And if let's say there's 2 or 3 shitty days, because not every day is just, big balling, but it's like, uh-oh, are we gonna be okay? So it is kind of nerve-wracking to some extent because you
Mhm.
do have to work on that trust. Because it's easy to be like, fuck that. Let me just go back to the workforce and,
Mhm.
boom, I know I'm
Yeah.
getting paid. But that's a false sense of reality also. That's something I had to push myself to understand. So I think you guys just remember that spirituality is for you. It's your journey. Just come into it with an open mind, I would say, and just figure out your whys, why you're coming over to spirituality. Why do you want to know things? Why are you branching off? What are you looking for, or what are you searching for? I think if you've come across us, spirits led you to us. There's no coincidence to that.
Yeah.
Um, that's how I feel. But be open. Don't be trendy. Don't be, and know that if you come from a background of shit, you're gonna have to deal with that shit.